nations were covered nutrition expert or ye part of the team at Tuarega.
But the Black Stars have won.
That is that, and so the zone, the time zone different, no.
Okay.
Ghanaian teams, they were covering and Tiger were covering no. 30 minutes when I ball on boy. Sister Nicole West.
Wow.
Into North Africa, they were at 45 to 55, and they've started chasing 55 to 70. Now the Europeans were 55, 66. Into a top Man City team, Basuna possessing ball, Obonyano on ball more than 70 minutes. So, Omusha some goes, okay, let's add up the time. So, who was still 15 minutes? They said they will add up the 15 minutes. So, at the 15 minutes, is trying to push the game into the real 90 minutes. Into all the distances. Over 100 meters. 100 meters is actually, not 100 meters, it's actually 90 meters. Because the stride length of an athlete reduces the distance of the track. Into 110 meters is actually 100 meters. I don't know where you are getting.
Yeah, we're getting you.
Into Uber game, the same thing. Into Ahondia North Africans, no, they are able to patch up a little
with the Europeans
because they have also invested from that angle now. They are doing that investment.
Wow.
And Morocco started that investment so many years, no.
So no wonder they went to the semis of the World Cup.
And I'm proud to. I think I wrote an article before the World Cup.
Sure.
And it was republished by Coach Abihu of Hohoe.
Yeah.
I told him, say, 2022 World Cup is the time Africa must win the World Cup. And it should be a Muslim country. Not a Muslim, so Bisam say, what is so special? I'm going to say, their fasting has always affected them as nations that do well in the World Cup. Because the fasting time, the fasting period is where the World Cup is played. And because Omu deny themselves food. So what happens is the mitochondria that stores the energy, that releases the energy for them. With the mitochondria, neighbor practical term, it is a car alternator. O say ukita manual car na alternator ni nye juma. You push your car ni be start.
Right.
But battery ni charging to ko jina bio ma just a sample push you bio.
No quarry.
So oba ni power body number the mitochondria that stores the energy. Join the fasting, accomplishing some level of energy.
Right.
But again, we do crunch this one. Almost a player need to be producing biome. It's in the Mukom with China 2018 World Cup. You realize that all the North African countries were doing well, but they will concede last minute goals. Egypt, Morocco.
At the Russian World Cup.
At the Russian World Cup. But 2022 World Cup was in December. November, December.
No fasting.
It's no fasting. So they are that energy. Then when I take you back, I say club, Emma Salah ni we won is
money.
Omuya fasting, omu game.
Yeah.
Or the nipa for bebo. So the fasting have an effect, positive effect on you, but in terms of concentration and energy, that is why we share software developers, hackers, they employ nutritionists. Because if we want to read forensic science, Obeka so nana dey say 3 hours na wakasa. Energy a obeni in 3 hours no is equivalent to obi a we to 100 meters, close to 100 meters. Yeah, transit here. What you are doing now, if you want to calculate your energy,
yeah.
But the amount of work the brain does drains your energy more than the work of what the physical body will do.
Wow.
So a bad game, every micronutrient is important. Every micronutrient is important. So the Western world, they identify in them. Then when they identify, they realize that we had it naturally. One naturally. They won it naturally.
Wow.
So the secret between the South Americans and the Europeans is that the South Americans have kept their natural system and adding a little bit of European, but we left our natural system and I call adopting 100% European. Into Wushiana, on the originator of the idea, into the baby you. So if we want to bridge the gap and share that nyedi, once we go back to our original shell, no, we'll dodge them. So the North Africans actually dodge the Europeans most of the time. That is why the North African players will come to Europe and enter the team straight. because natural strength will be. They've been able to identify the muscle fiber and other things. So about the West African Games now, say time I call World Cup no, if Africa was ready, and I trans years say trans here, okay, it was the time to produce two things. Oh, they look at how we perform.
Sure.
Look at how we perform throughout the tournament.
Right.
I'm going to give you another thing again. In Morocco, prior to that, they were preparing towards that angle. Then, I'm pushing on players throughout the world and collected the data. They have a lab. They collected the data and created what we call, I want to remember the scientific word, economic kaya. So they were able to produce players. In Timisabe, Sifsi and Angle Yamao. Who said China to Asamoah China to Drogba. China to Hawk. China ma etuba. Because the future Chinese team that will win the World Cup will like a striking department. So they transfer all these players to pick their biological structure and pick their physical structure and store it in the lab.
Charlie.
And see, the structure the future of the Chinese team. So Asamoah may go there and not last long, but what they were looking for, so the association was looking for something in him. That is why at a point in time, Bayern Munich went for Pep Guardiola. Not for the Bayern Munich, it's for the German national team, to infuse some chemistry into the German national team through the Bayern Munich team, because they are a dominance of 8 to 10 players that play for the national team.
By the time Pep Ebano, not Bayern Munich team, no, I'm the Champions League, but they sell the coach.
All right,
so this is how the game goes. Wow. So the North Africans, the West Africa, then Janice East Africa has also taken the trend.
Right.
So West Africa is in serious trouble. So East Africa is coming, because the South African side is coming now. With Egypt, they are going to get another first 2 pyramid because of investment.
Sure.
So they invest in all sectors. Until once you leave a sector out, because an academic team. Since a game now an academic team. And irrational. Sports actually irrational.
Right.
We are rational, you've been getting the results. It's kind of irrational. So you must think backwards. So it is only in sports that almost scientific action and reaction are not equal in opposite direction. If you want to do well, your reaction must be faster than the action.
Wow.
So that is why you see the early games. Obo said they are there. Normal consider Gobi. They are there. Normal consider Gobi. But they are catching up. So that is the time zone. So it's 70. We are still at 30. The North Africans are chasing 65 to 70. The Europeans are chasing from 55 to 65 to 70. That is why there's always a thin line. And there was a year Bayern Ali quarterfinals. You saw Ali almost punish Bayern.
Right.
But finally, Bayern Timinya win.
Okay.
So these are the references. So it comes back to investment and keeping your natural self.
All right.
That is why the North Africans are resorting, going back to their natural self. That's why Morocco has invested so much into the infrastructure, so that it will be them. So it is a self-pollination, cross-pollination. Into sports development, first self-pollination, then a cross-pollination. So I have to pick a knowledge from Nanedu. Now me dey come media, who media paint me my results.
Okay.
Me be copy who dey this one because now you originate and see e be hami.
Right.
So all the time me share wa obeshani.
Thank you very much. This is a pure academic exercise that demanded for more time, but the structure of the show would not permit us. But another day, I'd like us to go back to this conversation. This is purely an academic exercise. Fantastic submission, Coach Abihu. We'll go for the break. When we return, Mohammed